What's up, guys? Hope you're all well, man. Got a busy day today. Love the fact that it's cloudy right now. It's a little bit cooler. I think a cool front came through yesterday. So I love when it's cloudy working. Much rather it be cloudy as long as it's not raining or working. We got a lot of yards we're gonna mow. I'm in my other truck without the sprayer on it, the flatbed. I've even got a aeration job lined up, and I've got one or two that I need to look at to give potential customers some quotes for aeration. Good money in aeration. I think the one I'm doing today, we agreed to $175. It's a customer that I mow for as well, and I also had to push mow, you know, a portion of the yard. Actually, I just remembered it while I was using the bathroom that I needed to put the push mower on the truck. Not a fan of push mowing or having to worry about putting the push mower on. It's just easy to forget it at times, and I almost forgot it because he's this particular guy. He wants you to push mow a portion of the front yard. I even got a text from my buddy Emery, who let me use his beach house on the Gulf of America, asking me if I'd be interested in using it this weekend for free. He just lets us go there and use his beach house. I told him I had to check with my wife. I don't think we'll be able to go, but yeah, it's super nice of him to even ask if we'd be able to. So I'm gonna see my wife, check my wife and see what she has to say. I appreciate all the comments on the video yesterday. I meant to mention this in the video, talking about the stumps, and my buddy Brian over at Prime Cuts Australia, and Eddie mentioned it too in his comment. I like to drill holes as well in the middle, just to allow more of that chemical. You can obviously put more of it on it because it's going to seep into those holes or pour into those holes, and I think that's actually probably going to work better. I mean, I think this should work, what I did, just rubbing it on the top. Shouldn't be a problem, but you would obviously allow more chemical into the stump itself. You drill the holes in there, assuming you fill them up, right? So I do that as well, you know, from time to time. It's not something I do a lot of in terms of trying to kill stumps off of, just on occasion. Yeah, I appreciate all the comments for sure. I think Randall over at Elite, he's commented, I believe, before in past videos, but I haven't seen him in the comment section in a while. So hope he's doing well. I saw that he started posting videos here recently, so I'll have to check up on some of his videos and check them out. I haven't had a chance, to watch a whole lot of videos since I started getting real busy. I like to try to watch Ray as much as I can, and obviously I started watching some of Irvin's videos as well. Lee, by the way, appreciate the comments from Lee yesterday. Yeah, y'all, hey, listen, let's talk about it. I mentioned it. I wanted to bring up the whole situation with the wolf, and I'll probably break it up into two parts to keep this particular clip from getting too long. I'll probably get some footage in today too. Not sure how much footage I'll get, but I wanted to bring up the video that he posted several days. I guess it was last week, like 5 or 6 days ago, talking about him selling his business, and he just, somewhat confusing. This is why I'm really bringing it up, because I mean, he was very positive about lawn care and mowing yards. Just go look at his videos from last year. I didn't listen to a lot of the videos, just a few of them. And the ones I listened to, I even went back last night and checked out his profile and just went down the list of videos that he did last year, and they're all very positive towards mowing grass. Several titles into the picture there, the intro picture, talking about $870 and so many hours, or this amount of money mowing this many yards. So it's very positive towards mowing lawns. What got me, and what's kind of got me flustered a little bit, is the fact that he was so negative towards mowing grass and lawn care in this video. So that's what caught my attention when I listened to it. It just happened to, I'm not subscribed to him, but it just happened to pop up into my feed yesterday, and I got to listening to it, seeing that he's going out of business or selling his business. So I was curious and got to listening to it. And like I said, it was just total opposite of the videos that he was doing just a year ago, which is what kind of confused me for sure. let me say this, I'm not down on them or anything. I'm just, a man's got to do what a man's got to do if that's what he feels like is best for him and his family, right? So I respect that. But why the change, right? Why this drastic change in a short amount of time? And frankly, that's why you got to watch it with these guys on YouTube, especially if they're fairly new and they don't have a whole lot of experience. I think you got to be careful about watching certain guys for sure. I think you definitely want to go for guys that have a lot of experience, 10 plus years. That way they're in it and they've been in it and they're most likely going to be in it for years to come. If that makes sense. They're somewhat established. I feel like you're going to gain a lot more knowledge from those types. Yeah, there's a couple things that really stood out to me that kind of frustrated me a little bit. The way he talked about how there's no money in mowing grass and there's just not any money in it. After he had all those videos talking about, how positive he was towards mowing grass, not that long ago. But yeah, he mentioned the fact that in his area now, this is something that resonated to me, and I saw it in the comments. Someone asked him how big of a city he's in. In the city that he's in, he said there's 38,000 people in his town, which is a pretty big size, pretty good sized town, right? The number of people. It's not like it's a small town of 5,000 people or whatever, but he mentioned the fact that there's a lot of low ballers and a lot of 16-year-olds, causing, obviously increased competition and driving down the prices, charging $25, $30 for $50 yards, that kind of thing. Which, guys, I mean, that's nothing new, right? Like, what did that just start in his area this year? I seriously doubt it, right? I mean, that's something we all got to deal with. But here's the point I want to make in terms of that. The people that go for the 16-year-olds and the low ballers, those are going to be the customers that you want to avoid, right? You don't want to deal with those people. I've had quite a few people, and usually they weren't obviously long-term customers, but usually newer customers that decided they wanted to use little Johnny up the street to mow the grass during the summer. And next thing you know, once school came back into session, they'd be calling you back because little Johnny didn't have time to mow the yard anymore. Well, my thing is, I wouldn't I wouldn't go for that. I mean, once you decide you're gonna let little Johnny or whoever mow the yard in the summer, and you're not gonna get me to do it, well, tough luck, right? Don't call me back in the fall, ask me to start back, right? Because frankly, I'm not looking for customers in the fall. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, that's the point I want to make is those customers that go for the low ballers and the 16-year-olds, they're not the customers that you want to begin with. So I was kind of confused by that, as if that just started all of a sudden, and I seriously doubt it. I mean, it's, again, something we all got to deal with and put up with. But you don't want the people that go for the 16-year-old to cut the grass. Typically those 16-year-olds, they're not going to do a really good job either, right? I mean, they're not going to have a whole lot of experience. They're not going to have the equipment. Again, a serious customer, they're going to be smart enough to know that. And they're not going to want to go for someone that's 16 years old to cut the grass to begin with. So don't worry about those types that go for the 16-year-old and the low baller, the cheapskate, so to speak. Those aren't the customers that you want in your base. So that's the point I want to make there. Number two, he brought up the fact that he kept saying there's just no money in mowing grass. That was the main point of him shutting down. And he kept bringing up the fact that he would work 60 to 70 hours a week, but he was only making like $3,000. Well, I seriously doubt if somebody's working that long during the week, and if you're only making that much money, grossing that much money, there's obviously something wrong with your business. The fundamentals of your business. Either mainly probably you're not charging there enough, is my thinking, or you're not efficient enough. Maybe, obviously, we talked about it yesterday, your route density must be terrible. You're doing a lot of driving in between yards, but my thinking is if you're really working 60 to 70 hours a week, you should be making way more than that, even if you're solo. You know, you should be making at least $4,000 to $5,000 a week if you're working that long. So that tells me that his pricing was way off. He didn't have very good route density, or he just wasn't overly efficient or really getting after it, okay? Because that's one thing about mowing grass. If you're going to make money, you got to be willing to, you got to get after it, right? Day in, day out. You can't be, you know, goofing around and, you know, wasting moves like Ray talks about. You got to be really ultra efficient and really know what you're doing. If you don't know those things, yeah, you're going to struggle. So yeah, that's the point I want to make there. But I don't know. Yeah, those are the main thing. He also brought up buying a laundromat. How in the world is he going to afford buying a laundromat if he's complaining about how he don't have any money and he's only making, at this new job, I think he said he's making $24 an hour. Like, how is he going to afford to buy a laundromat? I think it's something he mentioned and some other things. But yeah, y'all, just all in all, I was just kind of more or less perplexed by the video itself. Just curious if some of you guys saw it. Again, you gotta be careful about who you follow, who you watch. You know, is my, you know, another point I want to make. You know, you want to make sure that you're following the guys that are in it for the long term, in it for the foreseeable future, and guys that are gonna give it to you straight. But anyway, yeah, hey, listen, we'll talk more about that whole subject with the wolf. At the end of the day, I'll let you know how the day went and maybe even tell you the numbers. Again, I'm gonna be doing a lot of mowing today. I'm in my mow-only truck. I've got the aerator on the truck as well, the push mower. So need to get a lot of yards mowed. So hopefully I can start fertilizing starting tomorrow. But anyway, hopefully y'all doing well, guys. I just thought I'd bring that up, that video of the wolf, and we'll talk more about that later. God bless. Hey guys, we're off to a good start so far. I'm here at a street I got several on. We're not doing all of them today, but yeah, doing this one here. It's a 65. This one over here, we're not doing it. It's another 65, and this one across the street, we are doing it. It's 100. And we do a yard, Mr. Ron that I do bushes for, we used to edge and blow it for him, and weed eat a little bit for 35. So what is that, 200, I think? Yeah, $200. Got here around 7:30. It's about to be 8:30, so we'll finish up around 8:40. A lot of blowing to do. So yeah, $200, about an hour and 10 minutes, not bad. But anyway, yeah, always good. You know, I talked about that route density yesterday. We got several on the street. Again, not doing them all right now. We'll try to get them lined up to where we're doing them all on the street the same day. Just haven't gotten to that point yet. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. Hope you're having a good day. Talk to you later. Hey guys, we're knocking out a new one. A little after lunch now. We've had a good day so far. Still got about 4 or 5 more, maybe 6. I'm gonna try to get done. So a lot of these yards I'm doing, I'm gonna be fertilizing tomorrow. We'll be in 2 trucks. I'm trying to get everything situated to where a lot of these yards that need fertilized, I can do that by myself tomorrow, while the guys do what they gotta do. So that's going into my thinking for sure. Yeah, this is like I said, brand new yard. It's got a newly sod front yard. It's a 60-60 for each thing. So really small yards. I feel like I'm making pretty good here, especially. So I'm trying to do. I'm trying to let go of the less profitable customers and make room for new ones, right? But anyway, hope you're all having a good start, having a good day. Talk to you soon. What's up guys, hope you're doing well. So yeah, we just finished up, dropped the guys off, ended the day at the gas station. I ended up changing my plan up a little bit. Not a big deal, let's do those yards that I was thinking I was going to do later this afternoon. We'll do those probably Thursday, that kind of thing. I just felt the need to change the schedule up. I actually ended up doing a few yards I didn't have on the list, so to speak. Overall, I had a really good day. I'm sure we at least hit 1,500. Probably, yeah, somewhere between 15 and 2,000. I'm thinking I'll put the number up on the screen when I, add everything up. Just give you an idea of the kind of revenue we generated today. One truck, obviously 3 guys and whatnot. I need to be doing at least 1,500 in my opinion. Just feel like that's the number we want to hit. To be making good money overall. But yeah, y'all saw me get the footage there of the aerator. I charged that particular customer $175. And he wanted me to aerate, then mow. I actually prefer to mow it, get some of that grass off, and then aerate because I feel like it gets better plugs. But I went ahead and did that. Yeah, I thought it turned out well. So yeah, it's something I always try to do, guys, and I ended up doing similar with a bush job. I always try to bundle services. So when I show up to mow, like I've mentioned before, with spraying the same day that I mow or fertilize, whatever, try to make sure that knock out 2 birds with 1 stone, whether it be spraying, whether it be trimming bushes, whether it be aerating. I want to do multiple things for 1 trip, if that makes sense. So I've gotten pretty good at doing that. So yeah, I had 2 situations where I'm going to charge obviously $175 for the aeration. I think it's $65 for the mow. Then a yard across the street was $65. And then the bush jobs, same thing, 175 for the bushes and 50 for the yard. It wasn't a very big yard, so yeah, y'all, I'm always trying to bundle services just to make even more revenue, more profit, right? Get things done, one visit. Yeah, y'all, hey, I'm in a little bit of a dilemma. We'll talk more about the wolf here in a second, but yeah, before I do that, I mentioned the fact my buddy Emery, good buddy, customer of mine, Emery, a super nice guy, super successful guy, just a great individual. But yeah, he offered up his beautiful beach house, Gulf Shores, for me to use this weekend. Well, I told him no to begin with, just because I really don't have time, to be honest with you, to be spending an entire weekend away from home. If that makes sense. But the more I got to thinking about it, I talked to my wife. She had a photo shoot, but she told me that she can move it around or move it to another day. And the kids are off next Monday, so one second, four-way stop. So yeah, I ended up texting him back and was asking if he found someone else to use it or not, that we may reconsider. So I know what my man Ernest would say. He'd tell me to take the free trip. The only thing he requires is us to pay the cleaning fee, after we finish up. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. Just may end up having to work a little later, next few days, if he gives me the go ahead. He hadn't responded yet. I texted him back earlier, so we'll see what he says. But yeah, I just appreciate him just asking me. Just super nice for someone to think of me, little old me, and offer up I'm assuming multi-million-dollar beach house for free to stay at for the weekend. So yeah, I really appreciate him offering that up to me. It's just a matter of me figuring things out once he gets back in touch with me, if that makes sense. Yeah, y'all, let's talk about the wolf. Like I said, the main thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was the fact that in previous videos last year he was so positive about lawn care. And as I said before, you got to watch who you listen to and all that, because you never know if they're being 100% completely honest and transparent with you. I mean, why did it change so fast? And I think that's what my buddy Ben had the issue with. I think in the comments he came in the video that the wolf did, he was talking about how he's really making excuses with the 16-year-olds and the low ballers. And that's kind of how I see it too. I mean, those guys didn't come into the picture in 2025. That's always been an issue for this industry, people lowballing and not charging enough, right? I mean, everybody talks about that. That was the main excuse that he made in terms of not being able to make enough money cutting grass. But yeah, y'all, I mean, look, we talked about the things you got to do in order to be successful at it. You young guys, if you're listening to me, don't listen to the naysayers. And again, it's not easy. You're going to have to figure things out, okay? You're going to have to figure things out in the beginning. It comes with experience. Just listening to someone like me tell you how to do things isn't enough. You're going to have to, you're going to have to do it on your own, right? And get that experience. Figure out and find out if this is what you want to do or not. And it's not, like I said, it's not easy. You got to be willing to work hard. Got to have that dog in you, man. I mean, there are going to be days where you just don't want to be out here, but you're going to have to find it down deep in you. Get up each and every day and go to work, okay? And not be afraid of the heat and all that kind of stuff. You're going to have a lot of days where, things aren't going to go right. You're going to break a window like I did last week a couple times, and things are going to happen that are going to discourage you. But you can't let that, get to you, okay? It's just part of it. At the end, as long as you're willing to be consistent, I think consistency is key in this industry, okay? Like I said before, you're willing to get up each and every day, week after week, month after month, year after year. You can build a successful business, for sure. Especially if you focus on those things that we like to talk about, route density being one of those, obviously pricing, making sure you're pricing these yards right, and not going for those customers that are low ballers, that are looking for the lowest price, okay? I think that's probably what the wolf was doing. He was, using the 16-year-olds and the lowballers as an excuse. He just didn't have really good customers that were paying him enough, or he wasn't charging enough, right? So yeah, that's kind of my thinking there. He probably just wasn't pricing right, or frankly wasn't very efficient, or didn't have very good route density if he's working 60, 70 hours a week as he claims. And again, I'm skeptical whether anything he says is if he's being truthful or not. I take it with a grain of salt, because again, he was so positive on lawn care, telling everybody, oh yeah, quit your job, start a business. You just go look at his titles of his videos from last year, talking about how much money he was making, mowing a certain number of yards, this, that, and the other. And now all of a sudden, less than a year later, it's the worst industry ever, right? You just can't make money in it, according to him. It was just an excuse. That's all it was. You can definitely do it. Don't let guys like him discourage you guys, okay? If you're thinking about it, for sure. But you just got to be willing to dig deep and be consistent at it, like I said, and you can be successful for sure. So, but anyway, hey, listen, guys. Hopefully I did a good job of the video. Like I said, I'm not downing on the guy. I mean, at the end of the day, every man's got to do what a man's got to do, and that's what he feels like he has to. So be it. But I'm just pointing out some things I noticed, mainly from last year's videos, and now how he's so down on it, like I said before, in 2025, not that long ago, so. But anyway, hey, listen, y'all, I'm pulling up to the yard, to the house, I should say. Hopefully I did a good job putting the video together. God bless you. Talk to you later.